Good afternoon to you. Well, of course, updates to come on the fuel price, also load shedding. The city of Cape Town saying it's preparing for the worst. Amid the persistent electricity blackouts in the country, the Western Cape Metro activating its disaster operations centre, they say, to mitigate the impact of load shedding on their residents. Meanwhile, Eskom says it'll take weeks for the power generation system to fully recover from last week's wildcat strike. Newzroom Afrika's Athi Mtongana joins us live now from Cape Town. Athi, good afternoon to you. What are people doing there?
Well, Cape Town is quite unique in the sense that some of the residents who are supplied by the city of Cape Town's grid directly do not experience a load shedding to the extent that other people who are supplied by Eskom, for example, some areas in the city of Cape Town will be experiencing stage 6, while others who are supplied by the city would then experience a lower stage, which is stage 4. We're coming to you from the network center of the city of Cape Town. This is where they actually switch on and off the buttons for load shedding, particularly for residents who are connected to the city of Cape Town. So you have some personnel who are designated to work here as they continue to monitor the situation. We know how unstable the situation has been with Eskom, and so the city of Cape Town has been working with all its teams on the ground and the technical guys as well as those who are here to try and mitigate the situation. You might have seen the city of Cape Town Mayor Geordin Hill-Lewis visiting some of these network operations centers. There's 2 of them. There's one that we're currently reporting live from, which is Bellville, and there's the other one in Newlands. Now I'm joined by the head of this particular facility, Mr. Gordon Ndindi. Thank you so much for your time. Now, I want you to explain to our viewers, particularly those, of course, who are affected by the operations that happen here, how is it that residents who are supplied by the city grid don't experience load shedding stage 6, for example?
Yeah, well, the city is fortunate in that it's got facilities that enable us to provide mitigation for the customers of the city of Cape Town. And particularly, I think you've heard quite a bit with regards to Steenbros Power Station, which is used for normal tariff operations, and over and above that, it can be deployed depending on spare capacity to mitigate load shedding, either stage 1 or 2, depending on circumstances.
And so what are the people that are working here actually working on? We know they are the ones who actually initiate load shedding, particularly for Cape Town residents. What is it that they do, and what kind of skills are they equipped with?
Yeah, these are power system controllers, and they are involved in various aspects of grid operations related to safety of personnel, not only load shedding, by the way, and other matters related to equipment, switching, taking out equipment for maintenance, making it safe, ensuring continuity of supply, reliability of grid operations, and of course, I think we are familiar with load shedding. So the load shedding is actually taking place in this facility, and that's the actual switching operations done remotely to switch devices out in the field.
Now, I want to find out from you, given the fact that the situation at Eskom has been so unstable, I'm sure you've been getting many calls. I know there's a call center where you're able to monitor the situation in terms of how residents are impacted by load shedding. How do you then mitigate this situation that is prolonged at Eskom, which is causing continuing rolling blackouts?
Yeah, look, there's a lot of planning that goes into it. I mean, load shedding schedules, for instance, have been designed around managing the various stages from stage 1 to stage 8, although 7 and 8 has been very rare. In actual fact, it never actually occurred. But we use those schedules to plan around, and also the training takes place around those schedules and simulations, etc. So there is a lot of work that background work that takes place prior to actual load shedding. So that actually assists in the case where it actually happens in real time.
The City of Cape Town is preparing for the worst. While we continue this conversation, I'm going to ask my colleague if he can just zoom in onto those projectors there so that you can talk to us about what we're seeing there in terms of your overall plans as the city to mitigate this extensive load shedding.
Yeah, of course. I mean, this is a control center. There's a lot of equipment there. Particularly, it's a SCADA supervisory equipment that enables remote operation of the grid equipment. And essentially, there's an overview. Alarms are coming in at all times, indicating where there's abnormalities that need to be attended to, and then staff are dispatched accordingly. There's also automatic generator control system that monitors performance of and scheduling of our generators. That's your steering brass, gas turbines, etc., etc. And of course, we've got overview of the schematics of the grid infrastructure, kind of a layout. And of course, the controllers have got the ability to zoom in and out and perform specific functions from their terminals.
Now, Mr. Dindi, I want to find out how many people are supplied by the city, because we know in as much as there is reprieve for those who are supplied by the city, there's also those who are directly getting electricity from Eskom. What are your estimates in terms of the people that you'll be load shedding at this particular facility?
Yeah, look, if you look at the city, I think we possibly 60%, somewhere around the range of 50 to 60% of the customers in this part of the grid are city customers, mostly residential, commercial to some extent. Eskom has got a lot more industrial, commercial customers and more rural networks. So the split is somewhere between 50, 60%.
What happens then if Eskom, for the worst case scenario, implements stage 8? What then happens to the city residents?
Yeah, look, city electricity is, we do simulation on a continuous basis. And it's always best in that case to simulate the worst case scenario, even though it's not going to happen in reality. I'm not saying it's going to happen. But if you understand how your network is going to respond under stage 8, you are better able to manage stage 5 or 6.
All right. Thank you so much for your time, Mr. Geordin Ndindi. He's the head of network operations here at this control center in Bellville. There's also another one in Newland, Stephen. And so just half of the city's population, as he has alluded to, then depends on the city's grid, which obviously now makes residents experience stage 4 as opposed to stage 6, that the rest of the country, particularly people who are supplied by Eskom's electricity, those people then get to experience, unfortunately, stage 6 load shedding.
Athi Mtongana for that live update. Thank you very much indeed. Well, you can see how it's actually done there, can't you, Athi? Thank you.